I love that. It's like changing your thinking from I can't to how can I?
Yeah, exactly. And this leads to what Monroe says is the most powerful source of potential, our spirit. He talks about how humans are made up of three parts: body, soul, and spirit.
I have to admit, when I first read that, I thought, oh, is this going to get super religious? But then I kept reading and I realized it's something much bigger than that.
Right. It's not about any specific religion. It's about realizing that there's a part of us that's not just physical or material.
Yeah, it's like that feeling of being connected to something bigger than ourselves, whether you call it spirit or higher consciousness or just that feeling of needing to find meaning in life.
Right. And psychologists talk about this too, like with self-transcendence and the search for meaning,
Hmm.
or even the idea of flow states, where you're so focused on something that you lose track of time and feel completely fulfilled.
So, how do we get in touch with that spirit, that
Right.
deeper sense of purpose? Because honestly, it can be hard to find in our busy lives.
Monroe talks about things like meditation and prayer, spending time in nature, and doing creative things that feed your soul.
And there's so many ways to do those things, right? It's about finding what works for you. Like some people might love doing yoga every day, and others might express themselves through art or music or writing.
Yeah, it's about making space in your life for things that make you feel awe and wonder and inspiration, things that remind you that you're connected to something bigger than yourself.
And it seems like that connection to our spirit is super important for finding and expressing our potential. It's like that spark that ignites your passions and gives you the energy to go after your dreams.
Monroe has these 10 keys to unlocking your potential, and I think they're really helpful for putting all these ideas into action.
Oh, I love those keys. He makes it so clear it doesn't feel overwhelming. What were some of your favorites?
Well, I know you're really into learning and growing, so I think self-awareness, purpose, work, environment, and sharing are especially relevant for you.
Ooh, I love those. I can already see how they all fit together. So let's start with self-awareness. What does Monroe mean by that?
It's about getting to know yourself really well, like your strengths and weaknesses, what you're passionate about, and what your values are. It's about understanding how you're wired and how that affects your thoughts and feelings and actions.
It's like making a map of your inner world so you can navigate it better and make choices that are right for you.
Right. And Monroe says this is something you have to keep doing. It's not like you figure it out once and you're done. It's a journey of constantly learning and growing.
And that leads into purpose, right?
Yeah.
Once you know yourself better, you can start to figure out your why. Like, what's the driving force behind everything you do?
Exactly. And Monroe says your purpose is usually connected to your passions and talents. It's about finding the things that light you up, the things that make you feel most alive.
And it doesn't always have to be some big world-changing mission,
Right.
right? Sometimes it's just about finding purpose in the little things, the everyday moments of kindness and helping others.
For sure. And once you have that sense of purpose, it gives you the energy to do the work. Monroe is really clear that unlocking your potential isn't easy. It takes hard work, discipline, and doing something every day to move towards your goals.
He doesn't sugarcoat it. There's no magic trick. It's about showing up even when it's hard. It's about having that grit and determination to keep going even when you face obstacles.
And our environment is really important too, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Monroe talks about how important it is to be around positive people, people who support you and push you to be your best.
Yeah, it's about creating a space where you can grow, whether it's through the books you read, the people you talk to, or even the places you spend your time. It's about being careful about the energy you let into your life and making choices that help you reach your goals.
And lastly, there's sharing. It's a great reminder that our potential isn't meant to be kept to ourselves. It's meant to be used to make the world a better place.
It's about realizing that we don't just have our gifts for ourselves. We have them to make the world better for everyone. It's like using what we have to help others and make the world a kinder, fairer, and more fulfilling place for everybody.
And that's where faith and desire come in, right? What do you think about how those two things play a role?
Well, Monroe says that faith and desire are what keep us going. They're like the fuel for this journey of discovering and using our potential.
I get that. I think faith in this context doesn't have to be about religion. It's more about believing in yourself and what you can do, even when you don't see the results yet.
Exactly. It's about trusting the process. Believing in yourself and being brave enough to take those leaps, even when you don't know what's going to happen.
And desire, how does that fit in?
Desire is the engine. It's what pushes you forward. It's that passion, that need to create something meaningful, to make a difference.
Mhm.
If you don't have desire, you won't have the motivation to push through the hard stuff, to keep going when things get tough.
It's like that little voice inside you that tells you which way to go, even when there are obstacles in your way.
And this brings us to another idea that Monroe talks about, the narrow road. He says that to really reach your full potential, you often have to take a path that's less traveled, one that might not be what society expects or what everyone else is doing.
Oh, I love that metaphor. It's like that struggle between fitting in and being yourself. It's about realizing that sometimes to really grow, you got to break free from what everyone else is doing and find your own way.
Yeah, it might mean questioning things, challenging the way things are, or even just accepting the things that make you different. It's about being brave enough to stand out and be yourself, even when it feels scary or uncomfortable.
And Monroe says that even though the narrow road is harder, it's the one that leads to a more fulfilling and impactful life.
Right. It's about living in a way that matches your values, your passions, and your purpose. It's about creating a life that feels real and meaningful, even if it looks different from everyone else's.
So, as we finish up this deep dive into Myles Munroe's Uncover Your Potential, I'm amazed by how much he had to say. We talked about metaphors, mindset, purpose, environment, sharing, and even the courage it takes to take the narrow road. But the most important thing I learned is this: we all have amazing potential inside us, it's just waiting to come out.
It's not about becoming someone else or trying to fit in. It's about being yourself, working on your strengths, and using your gifts to make a difference.
And that's something that really speaks to me, and I hope it speaks to you too. I want to leave you with this question from Monroe's book: what will the world lack because you fail to live out your potential? It's a powerful reminder that our potential isn't just about us, it's about what we give back to the world. So go out there, embrace your journey, and don't be afraid to create a life that's meaningful and impactful. You have amazing things to offer.